Haven't done that in a while.
Hello and welcome to the That's So Craven podcast, your one-stop shop for all things Fulham. And yeah, it's probably a voice that you haven't heard in a long time, which would be my own. It's been a while, but I'm also joined by Sam, probably someone else we haven't. When was the last time we did one together?
I don't even want. I don't. I shudder to think. I shudder to think. It makes.
2025.
Oh, don't stop it! Stop it! That's actually on me. I've been bad. I've been bad. I've been naughty. Not in all the good ways, in all the bad ways. I've been inconsistent. I've let the good people down. Steve Reynolds has been so worried, but I am here. I'm back. I'm with my Fulham best friend. I'm sorry about the lighting. I know it's a bit Deathly Hallows or a bit Al Qaeda-y, but I trust me. I'm here. I'm here. I'm back. I'm safe. That's the
You're
main thing I
safe.
want to
That's the main
assert.
thing.
Yeah,
You are
yeah.
still
And
alive.
I am still alive. I've been watching from afar. And I missed you all. I missed you so much. I especially miss Skivvy. I especially miss my Fulham best friend.
Oh,
My
me
family
too, man.
members, I've kind of, I speak to them like they're fine. But you and the good people, I missed you all. And what a wonderful day. Like I thought like there was smiles to be brought on, and I thought I could bring some more smiles. And
Absolutely.
that's what I'm here to do, you know?
That's it, and we do pray for Sam's safe return. The ransom is in the post, but we all know what the post is like this time of year. I say
Yeah.
this time of year, all
Yeah.
year, but there you
Yeah.
go. But yeah, we're here. We are a Fulham podcast, so we are here. There are things going on within the club, outside the club. We had a game on Sunday, which was
Good.
away to Sunderland, which very tricky on paper. But no, it's good to be back. It's good to be back behind a microphone. I've got my own. I've got a new setup, so there's a lot of Fulham stuff in the background. So if anyone was confused, clicked on this by accident and was like, "What are these guys talking about?" Right there, buddy. Fulham
Why is
FC,
Sam in a bunker?
Zoltan Gira. And yeah, why is Sam in a bunker? But it's just yeah, there's just reasons. But I can see Emma's already joined. Welcome in, Emma. And welcome in everyone who's listening along live on YouTube. Like Emma, you could also do an Emma. You could, if you are listening to this later on, you can follow us on YouTube.
And join the
Um,
Discord.
uh, exactly, and join the Discord.
I
We've got a
remembered
lot of
that.
things on the Discord. Yes, the Discord. You can find the link in the bio. Lots of things going on in there, talking about the games, talking about transfers, talking about news, things around the club. So yeah, definitely get involved with the Discord. But without further ado, we had a game. We went away to Sunderland, which I mean, on paper, tricky fixture. I mean, everyone will
Hmm.
think about Sunderland, recently promoted. They came up via the playoffs, didn't potentially have the right squad for the Premier League, had to do a massive overhaul and bring in some experienced players like Xhaka. But they've actually had a really good season. They were in the top four, I think, after like 8 games. And they still keep picking up points. So it was a pretty much a difficult place to go. They've only lost one game and I think conceded 10 goals all season at home. I mean, Sam, going into that game, what did you think?
Oh, look, I had apprehension. I mean, let's call it what it is. It hasn't been a great like January wasn't great for us towards the tail end. Coming off a couple of like disappointing like losses. I mean, especially like the City one. I feel like that was just kicking us when we were down a little bit. So this was actually a nice opportunity. Outside of because we I know we played an FA Cup fixture, right? I forget.
Stoke, yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But like it's I mean, that's nice and that's good. But it's not really the same. It's not really the same. So it was good for confidence. But I wanted to see us actually kind of like come back and get some points in the Prem because it actually overall it has actually been quite a good season, which is kind of a bit weird
Mm.
to say because it hasn't actually felt fully that way. And I feel like I say this every year, but it's been a little bit disjointed, but it's actually it's been a bit of a net positive. Um, but I was kind of looking at this, thinking the exact same way that Sunderland wasn't a slouch. And I rate them. I actually do rate them. I've seen enough good highlights of them, and I've seen enough of them to kind of know that it wasn't necessarily going to be a pushover. And I actually thought we went into it really, really well. I really, really loved Kevin in the first half, and I think we actually asserted ourselves a lot more than I thought we were going to do. I think we were far and away the better team throughout the entire game. A couple moments here and there, but I think we were actually just a lot more put together than them. And yeah, it looked, I don't know, like the first half, I feel that we really should have got something out of that, considering like, yeah, Sunderland tried a couple times, but it didn't really kind of like go their way. And I feel that we were actually kind of like pushing forward quite nicely, but it didn't actually amount to anything. I've already rambled. I've already gone.
That's it.
I've already gone.
I thought about reining you in, but I was just like, let's just see where this goes.
Yeah, just give people what they want. You know, they've missed me. I've missed them.
You touched upon some key points there, and I mean, off the back of that Stoke game, you know, Kevin was the outstanding player, legend of the match. I think is the new term. And was just a thorn in that side. And every time he got the ball, he was just at that fullback and just was having a great time in that Stoke game. And I think there was an element of, okay, he can do it against Stoke, but can he take that form, take that tenacity and bring it to Sunderland, who defensively are a very sound team? I mentioned that they only conceded 10 goals at home all season, only lost once this season before Fulham arrived. And therefore, you know, it was kind of key for me that Kevin would be that person who could probably unlock that door. And, you know, he doesn't know what he's going to do, but, you know, he's got the quick feet, he's got the confidence, and he's just got to get at him. And we started to see that. And from the get-go, I think everything was coming down that left with Kevin. And there was a moment where I think there was a long ball up from Leno, almost like a clearance, and it kind of fell and bounced to the right back for, I think it was Mukiele at the time, and Kevin just, you know, hustled him, beat him to the ball, and then suddenly we were on the front foot. And you know, we got into about, I think it was a 2-on-2 situation, and that all came from just a confident Kevin who just wanted to get at his man. And I think that was all we really needed in that game. I think there was a lot of you know, thoughts about how Sunderland set up. They're quite strong in the center of the midfield. Therefore, you know, is Berger and Iwobi going to be able to create for us? Is Smith Rowe going to be able to find those pockets of space? Is Wilson going to, you know, he's a bit hit and miss, but he's always kind of comes up trumps at some points. But, you know, for me, it was Kevin was key. And he really kind of pulled that out of the hat and from the get-go. And just really unfortunate that coming into sort of end of the first half that he picked up that injury. I mean, speaking of that injury, I still struggle to see how he got injured. I keep seeing that the player sort of stamped down. It seems to sort of graze his boot a little bit, almost like his big toe or one of the toes. But I mean, did you see anything a bit more clear cut that you think that's definitely something? But I mean, he was in a lot of pain and couldn't put any weight down on that foot. But is there anything that you picked up on that injury?
Not really for me. I mean, I mean, you're always better at the tactical analysis. I'm more of an imagery kind of a guy. I like a storyline. It's really annoying for him because he's really kind of like becoming a bit like always a bridesmaid, never a bride. He has had a couple of moments, and I can see the beginnings of a potentially great player, but now he's just a little bit stuck in good. I don't think I necessarily saw anything more than like anybody else. I was a bit, I mean,
yeah,
it didn't.
Just one of those things.
Yeah, like, yeah, I can't. I've also been up since about 6:30 in the morning, and it's quite late here. So like, I don't really have too much to really like elaborate on from it. I mean, I'm actually quite glad that he went off. I mean, not in the kind of like an overall sense, but like
Yeah.
I want him to have a really, really good season. So I'm actually quite thankful now that Bob is an option that we could bring off the bench, because I trust him a little bit more than Traore, even though I did feel that Bob was really boring. But we can, like, that's conversation for like second half. But at least we actually we didn't have to kind of like play him longer than he needed to be, and we probably could. I don't know the severity of like the injury, or like I don't know
I
what
don't think we
anything
do
come up
know.
yeah. So I'm glad that we at least took like precaution and just went, no, just get out, but yeah, I don't have too much to add. I don't like,
No, that's
I'm
fine.
sure,
I mean,
yeah.
to be fair, it was the first half of injuries. I mean, after 10 minutes, Mukiele, who is the right back for Sunderland, who is their long throw kind of taker,
Specialists.
specialist. Yeah, he got subbed after 12 minutes. He was in a muscular pain. And then towards the end of the half, I believe it was the debutante, I think Jocelyn Tay-Bai, he also went off injured. So it was just a weird half of 3 subs, 3 injuries, 2 for Sunderland and 1 for Fulham. But I mean, speaking those injuries aside, that obviously hinder Sunderland more than us, obviously with the more injuries, and it all came from one side. On their right hand side had to be rebuilt, and I mean that allowed us to express ourselves a little more. And I think as that first half went on, we saw some more chances. I think Kevin was the first chance before obviously his injury, where it came out to his left, and then Cess aiming for the top corner, tried to recreate what he did against Tottenham last season, but didn't quite find the back of the net. But I mean, the signs were there. I think early on, I think we were, out of the 2 teams, we were the only ones who were able to sort of create a clear cut shot at goal, which sort of showed kind of how, credit to Marco Silva, and how we set up in terms of silencing and nullifying Sunderland, but also getting on that break and really trying to sort of hit them on the break and find those pockets of space like Kevin and Cess did. I mean, Cess, I'd be interested to take, I know you say you're not a tactical buyer, but I'm interested in your take of that Sessegnon chance, because he at times this season, we've seen him as almost like a shadow striker to Jimenez. He's so far up the pitch.
This is what I was actually gonna bring this up. Like, I don't actually know what position Cess plays anymore, because I know he plays left back, but he sits so high and he kind of like complements Kevin so well. And Bassey's kind of like doing his own thing anyway. I feel like Bassey's so strong and so imposing. Like, he just kind of covers the left side. So it actually gives Cess and Kevin so much freedom, which I love. And because I remember when Kevin first came in, one of the criticisms, or I think one of the apprehensions, was, oh yeah, but Cess is doing so well at the moment, and left wing position, and he's kind of in this weird kind of like hybrid role that I think he could only work with somebody like Kevin, who's so kind of like mercurial and enigmatic, and kind of like so free roaming, that Cess kind of has a structure. But again, I don't really know what it is, because again, as you said, he's sitting so high, and I like that he's there, but I'm like, I think it is a hole that it can be exploited. But I mean, when it's good, it's great, you know?
It's interesting to like, and then this is one for Kish and Cottage Tactico on X. But I always sort of see that Berger seems to sort of sit back and drop into centre back. Bassey goes over to left back, and Cess is just gone full Bilbo Baggins. I'm on an adventure, right? And and then, because Kevin is sitting so wide, the fullback is kind of sitting on Kevin, but also looking at the massive space that Kevin's created, and just been like, hang on, where's he come from? And it creates chaos and confusion, and I'm all for it. And I think it was Wolves at home this season where I think Jimenez just laid the ball off to a marauding Sessegnon, and he's through on goal, and you're suddenly like, hang on, your left back is playing as centre forward, and we saw that again. So it's obviously no accident, and it's obviously something that
Yeah.
they work on.
It's such
And
a
I think
contrast as well to the right-hand side, which is so
yes,
regimented with like Tete and Wilson, who are just very, very fixed in their positions. And the left
mhm.
side is doing like I mean, it's like looking at like a Rubik's cube and a kaleidoscope, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And it's quite interesting because we don't see that from Jedi. When Jedi plays left back, we don't
No,
see him getting in that forward. They obviously don't. I think he hasn't even scored a goal for Fulham yet. I might be wrong on that, but they
no.
obviously don't trust him in front of goal. Whereas Sessegnon has obviously been there, done that, won the EFL awards for being a goal scorer for Fulham in that championship season under Slav. But it's clearly something that they work on, and it's something that almost paid dividends in that half.
Not to sound like the kids, but the fall from grace from Jedi really, really needs to be studied. I mean, like that's such an interesting case study, and I don't think it's
Mm,
uncommon of just like how one injury can just really kind of just erode so much progress. I mean, the guy that like we were saying, and I meant it wholeheartedly last year as being the best left back in the Prem.
mm,
Now, I can't think of a scenario where I actually would willingly start him over Cess, especially
mhm.
with Chikwueze or Kevin providing so much creativity from like those options with Cess specifically. You just don't really get the same thing with Robinson. And yeah, I'm not fully sure like the point that I'm trying to articulate here, but I do just think it's really, really interesting how
Yeah.
like this, he just really hasn't come back from that injury at all.
No, and I think he's still possibly carrying some sort of injury because I don't think, and I might be just double checking while we're speaking, but I believe he wasn't even on the bench, Jedi.
Mm,
So I believe he must have picked up some kind of injury, didn't travel, but whether that's the same injury that's plaguing him, which he had the surgery on his knee, who knows? But yeah, you're quite right. He just doesn't look the same player. Looks off the pace, and I think there's elements that people forget, right? That yes, there's a physical aspect to injuries that it hurts and
mm.
they play through pain and they try and they lose certain mobility due to not playing. But there's also a mental side of it as well. Because I mean, using myself as an example, I'm nowhere near professional, by the way. I
Mm,
love to play a little bit of football here and there, but I managed to pull my hamstring last summer playing in a 11-a-side game, and it took me 2 months to get back to actually jogging slash
mm,
walking without a limp, and it was agonizing. But I'm playing football now with friends, and I started to sprint for a ball. But in my head, how I did it was somebody put me through on goal, and I was running, and it was a little bit too hot, and it was going towards the goalkeeper, and I really pushed myself to make it, and it
mm.
just pinged right.
Yeah.
And now I'm playing, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to run for that ball. I can make that ball. But then I start to think of, oh, wait, remember when I pushed myself and it really hurt and it took me 2 months to
Mm.
get back? And
I'm
now I don't run that. I don't push myself as hard. And I reckon
mm,
that's something that Jedi probably has as well, that he doesn't want to be under the knife again. He's got a World
oh,
Cup to come.
mm,
He a home World Cup as well, even though he's Mancunian.
yeah.
Sorry to Mike Levy there, but he needs to know that he is Mancunian and not American. He, but he's got a World Cup coming, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to push himself. He's not going to bust his ass to get to that byline because what if his knee pops? What if he's out for the World
Yeah.
Cup?
Oh my god, I'm actually on a book right now. This is my first niche reference. I'm on a book right now called Psycho-Cybernetics, and it's basically all about how visualization is so crucial to actualizing your goals. And they talk a lot about it in sportsmanship, especially with regards to things like tennis, but also in like football as well. How
Mm,
if players can't actually visualize what they're going to achieve before they achieve it, they're actually running at a loss, and they need to almost be in like a state where they just have a belief that they actually are going to achieve something before they even attempt to do it, and they need to visualize attempt like doing it and achieving it before they even do it, because the mind has a very, very um it's crazy how much power that actually has over the
Yeah.
body. I mean, if you even somebody, I remember like Erling Haaland actually said it once, because he talks a lot. He's a bit weird, and he talks a lot about like meditation, and he talks a lot about how all he does before games is just visualize scoring goals, and then when he goes out on the pitch, he just clears his head completely. He just completely clears his head. And in his brain, he's like, no, I've already scored the goals before I've even stepped out on the pitch. And it's crazy how little players, or maybe they do, but I'm not sure if it's really that much part of their training regimen to actually have psychology. But I mean, for players coming back from injury, it must be soul shattering. Because I always say these are athletes that we're not paying them to have emotional intelligence. We're paying them to kick balls.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm trying to think of the manager, and this. Do you know what? It's my catchphrase. I might be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was Graham Potter who installed a therapist. At Brighton, because he was, saved them from like relegation and tried to sort of turn them around a bit, and then he hired this like that team therapist, and then suddenly everything started to click on the pitch, and people would just, and yeah, I think there's elements of mind over matter, but I think there's just possibly something deeper there.
I can summarize it really, really well. Apparently, there's a Henry Ford quote. It's believe you can, believe you can't. Either way, you're right.
And there we go.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Nice little bow. Well, also, I thought Iwobi was good as well. I wanted to say that. We haven't done that yet.
Yeah, Iwobi was good. I think he's one of those players where, as the kind of energetic, marauding centre mid, I expect a little bit more. I want him to be that guy that, and this is the thing, like
expectations, mate. You're just making yourself unhappy.
But I want him to be that little zippy centre mid who demands the ball. Berger's got the ball, give it here. You're like, you can't be trusted. I want it. I control this midfield. I dictate the pace. I make things happen. He just doesn't seem to have that kind of mentality for me where he's demanding. Like, you watch a top class centre mid like Tielemans or I'm just going to use Tielemans as an example. They're always demanding the ball. He always wants to be on the ball, and he always wants to dictate that midfield. I just feel like that's where we're kind of missing Iwobi, because he's got the touch, he's got the defense splitting passes. We saw one, I think it was to ESR, which then he helped really on to Sessegnon. And you just want to see more of that. You just want to see bits of that. But obviously, I'm not going to stay on him too much because, spoiler alert, guys, he did score. So.
Yeah, and like, well, it's really interesting that you say this, because I'm actually still on the fact that Alex Iwobi is not a center midfielder, and he's just kind of become one because by default he's probably one of the best, if not the best, center midfielder we have. But he's completely playing out of position and doing an excellent job. And I like the fact that he's doing such an excellent job that now you're having expectations of that he doesn't have the natural capabilities of a center midfielder when he shouldn't be playing there in the first place. And that
he's
that's
a
definition of privilege. That's definitely privilege, my friend.
He's definitely a centre mid for me. He's good in the midfield, but I think it's now trying to find that balance. That's the key. But yeah, definitely a good player. But I mean, as the first half goes on, unfortunately the injury to Kevin, as we mentioned, but we go in 0-0. Better team. I mean, the game was there for the taking, but I think Oscar Bob coming in, we know what he can do. We've seen it at City, but it takes time to get the Marco aspect. I think there's glimpses of good from Bob, but I mean, what were your thoughts?
Well, potentially unpopular, but he, for me, and I understand he needs to be bedded into the squad a little bit more, and he needs time, and he needs what'd you call it, like a lot. He needs time to like grow. It's not really, I'm not really sold on it yet. Okay. I can't really see it. I'm sure Kish is a great example of this. I'm sure Kish could tell me all the reasons why I'm wrong here. It doesn't feel bad, but I mean, I think of the rush that I get when I see like Chikwueze there, and even Kevin there. I don't. Oh, even like I mean, even like Bobby Decordova Reed. I mean, just like I mean, he's playing 14. I have to. I can't not make the comparison. But he's not, as the kids would say, he's not. It's not really giving for me. Like, and I don't necessarily think he's bad. I don't think he actually did anything wrong, but he wasn't grabbing me. And I'm very, very interested to see how he develops. I mean, I have seen him at international level, and I have seen him play a little bit for City. I will be honest, I haven't been wowed seeing him for City or for Norway. And I know he is at Fulham specifically so he can play internationally for Norway, so he can get like the time and minutes. If I'm scouting for Norway at the moment, I'm not really sure if he's making my international squad. I don't know. Maybe that's really, really unfair, and maybe I'm being quite mean. You tell me. But for me, it wasn't. I didn't really get enough from him. What do you reckon?
I mean, from the Norway perspective, I just don't think they have a lot to pick from.
Well, that's fair. That's very, very fair.
If you've got a player who was on the books of Man City playing in the Premier League, then in the squad at least. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not going to rule him out. And the reason why is because our very own David Crave, Dave Wilson, will make me eat my words. And to be honest, I wasn't sold on Kevin. And he kept saying, give him time. He needs confidence. He needs confidence. And sure enough, Kevin gets a bit of confidence and suddenly looks like a different player. I think with Bob, we see some glimpses of tidy footwork. I think against Stoke, he played and had some really good moments on that right-hand side. I believe
he looks efficient.
It was him and Josh King. And I was like, you know what? These guys are actually pretty good ballers. And I think give him time. I think he will come on strong. I wouldn't even say this season. I think give him a preseason. Give him a preseason. Really get under how Marco wants him to play, and then get Marco to bring out his best traits of his tidy footwork and his pace. And I think he will be a very good player. But
actually,
to come as well.
On that segue, I want to talk about a really good player who has copped a lot of criticism over the past 2 years, but I am really, really, really in love with Jimenez at the moment. Because Jimenez, he's actually copped a lot from like the casual fan and from us, myself included, for being on high wages and not necessarily kind of like deserving of his position. But truly, I think 2026-25 season, that's been the year of Jimenez for me. Like, because he is, I mean, there's doing a job and then there's doing what Jimenez is doing. And I absolutely love this man. Like, he's truly gone. He for me, he's a cult hero now, because he came to Fulham in a bit of weird circumstances, and he's fully justified his position as starting striker. And he hasn't done it in a dickish, bullish way. He's just done it from consistent, good quality work, and I love him at the moment.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because a great account on X, Fulham Random, always bringing out some fantastic stats and facts about Fulham, which are completely random, as you may guess. He told us that Mitrovic scored 28 Premier League goals in 89 Premier League games for Fulham. Jimenez has scored 27 Premier League goals in 88 Premier League goals for Fulham. So one goal less in one less game. Mitrovic also played 6,722 minutes for Fulham. when Raul Jimenez has paid, or am I getting that right?
Just for
Double
the sake,
checking that.
just yeah. I'm not going to question this. Yeah, I'm not going to question
I
your
was reading the
authority,
wrong
my friend.
thing. But anyway, I haven't got the number, but Mitrovic has played more minutes
Yeah.
Than Jimenez. So when you think about, we sold Mitrovic for 50 odd million. Everyone was going, okay, who are we going to replace him with? And we replaced him with £5 million worth of Raul Jimenez. Everyone was up in arms going, well, he's a great squad player, but who's going to actually score the goals? 3 years later, Jimenez is scoring the goals.
Yeah.
The goals that and yes, there can be an argument that Mitrovic scored the most goals under Silva and was kind of hitting form in that season. So he was just about kind of hitting prime as he was sold. But at the same time, we've replaced the same amount of goals in the same amount of games with Raul Jimenez, and that is a net spend of minus £45 million.
Yeah. No,
Great
he's
decision, right?
no, yeah. It's one of the few times I think we can actually turn around and be like, that's a serious net positive. And there is that. There's the statistic side of it, but I just think that we just kind of all owe him a little bit of apology because, man, I remember when he first got signed, and we all kind of did a like collective groan. We was like, "Is that it?" Like, and I think he's done it with some serious grace under pressure, and I think he's like, especially this season with Muniz being out. And they're not really being. I know Kusiasare is an option, but he's not really an option. Like, and he's never really been given
not
the
yet
full
anyway.
Not yet, but like Silva doesn't have faith in them, and if Silva doesn't really have faith in them, then he's not really an option, in my opinion. And so everything has just been on Jimenez, and Jimenez has kind of had to adjust his style a lot, and it's just paid off so goddamn well. And I mean, he's really just, and he's been very quiet about it as well, which I really appreciate. Hasn't whinged, hasn't moaned. Hasn't had to do what Harry Wilson had to do, where basically he had to claw his way back into the squad a little bit and really kind of like prove himself. He's just consistently and like every week just been really just been very good. And I mean, that compounds now to the point where I just really, really appreciate that Mexican man.
I mean, he was like Batman, right? He wasn't given. Muniz had an injury. Kusiasare, as you mentioned, was on the bench, but he was a striker. He's not the striker that we needed, but he was a striker that we deserved. But at the same time, he's just his work rate and just the way that he's performed this season. Yes, people are going to say that it's a home World Cup for him as well, given that it's Central America. But it's just a fire's been lit underneath him. He's playing very well. And I mean, the goal, the back to the game,
clean, man.
We just don't. We haven't been notorious to score from set pieces. We always take this corners short, and it's just, always seems to fizzle out. But recently, it seems to have developed, and it's just nice to see. Yes, Wilson was an option. But Iwobi decided, you know what, I'm going to put this in the box and see what happens. And, you just see some fantastic work from Anderson where, he's just blocking the marker for Jimenez and allows Jimenez to pull back a little bit and get a free header on goal. And, he is that sort of player who give him that chance of a free header in the box and it's going to be on target.
Yeah.
And I mean, I even say 7 out of 10 times in that box, a header from Jimenez is probably going in the back of the net. And it was just a fantastic goal all round. And I think it was thoroughly what we deserved. But, Jimenez, just fantastic player. I mean, what was your take on the goal?
Oh, just clinical, man. Just like it's, like, as you said, like sometimes when you see a set piece and it's just kind of like it's just cleanly executed to the point where you just kind of go, well, this should just happen every time because like it was just really
that
really
easy.
perfect. Yeah, it was literally just lovely curling crossing from Iwobi on the noggin in the corner. Keeper didn't know what to do. Bob's your uncle. Well, actually, Bob's your left winger. No, it's just so neat. That's the thing that I really love about Jimenez. Like, I remember a couple of years ago, he was really, really flashy. And do you remember he either didn't score anything or he would score like 4 goals in like a game, and he would be like hyper, like very, very bombastic and crazy, like that back heel assist to like Wilson, just fucking nuts. Whereas like now he's Sorry,
I have to correct you when it's Andreas.
No, and as you should. But like now there's a lot less of that. I'd say a lot less of that charisma, for lack of a better word, and just way more efficiency. And it's just really, really nice to see. It's just he's just doing. I don't want to say the fundamentals, but he is just doing the fundamentals well. And he's actually just kind of just taken a lot more of a step back on all the other stuff. And he's just become a really, really nicely reformed striker. And he's just kind of gone, I'm going to make everybody else who's going to be doing everything else. I just need to focus on finishing, and I'm going to do it well. And he's doing it really, really well. And he's also doing penalties very, very well.
Just broke the record. I think it
13-13.
13-13. Yeah, unlucky for some, but not for Raul. But fantastic penalty. I mean, before we actually talk about the penalty itself, talk about the foul leading up to. I mean,
I'll take it.
Really stupid from Robbie. And I think when you look at Sunderland fans for saying, "Oh well, Bassey was offside. Oh well, there's this." Well, and I mean, no, let's actually take a step back for a second. And Robbie grabbing the back of somebody's shirt for a prolonged period of time as well. So he didn't just do it like a tug and let go. He kind of just held him for a good couple of seconds. To do that in a league where VAR is a thing, ridiculous, really stupid. I mean, if that was the other way around and that happened in our box, like, free kick comes in and, Bassey has hold of somebody else and they go down and then they go, well, penalty. And you're like, well, yeah, but that's really stupid. Why would you do that when there are cameras everywhere that's going to be looking for anything to basically try and take the heat off of anything that they get wrong? There was just no question there for me. I mean,
it's actually hilarious. Like, why would you steal an officer's hat in a police state? It's like it's like, and to be fair, it's twofold, because let's face it, Bassey's massive. It doesn't matter that like somebody's like pulling on his back. He can hold his own. He's a huge boy. But I do like the fact that he's like, right, you're gonna play that game, I'm going down. Like, I'm going to go down because like what you're doing is obvious, and I'm going to take that. And I love that it's a combination of those two things, because I mean, that's as you said, that's 101. There's cameras everywhere. You can't like scratch your ass and sniff without anybody like seeing it. And so, but as a result, you can whinge about that or you can use that. And I'm really, really glad that everyone refers to it as like the dark arts. But I'm just going to view it from the lens of like, you have a 3rd/4th metric. And if you've got these players coming in who aren't used to that, or are kind of like thinking that it's a previous game, i.e. like championship or whatever other leagues, I'm glad that our guys are at least going, no, we know how to use this thing now. We've been like messed about by it for so many years. We actually know what to do. And I really, really like seeing that, because what's that Postecoglou quote? It's like all managers are just trying to learn how to cheat. Like, yeah. And I agree with that. I completely agree with that. Like, you gotta kind of cheat to win, and you got to cheat within the rules that you're given, and that is how you succeed in sport. and in capitalism.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, well, gets given too right as well. And I think no question, Raul
Yeah.
slots it, sends Keeper the wrong way.
How
13
confident
out
were
of
you?
13.
How confident were
Very.
you? Yeah, me
Unbelievably
too.
confident.
Literally, I was just kind of like, I know he's got it. I know he's got it. And I love that feeling. I love that feeling.
See, that's where I'd be worried. If Muniz was on the pitch,
Yeah.
who would step up and take that penalty? I mean,
Oh, God.
you'd probably be giving it to,
Wilson?
I mean, probably Muniz, I suppose. Oh, Wilson. Yeah, Wilson probably
I think he's all right.
is the one. But
We've got an all right
yeah,
track record, though, of like penalty take. I don't, wasn't that like,
as of
there was a-
late.
yeah.
Yeah,
Didn't
as of late.
William
but
have
I
like a
think
ridiculous statistic as well? Like a pretty similar one to like.
he had a
Muniz?
similar one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was quality. But yeah. But no, fantastic penalty and 2-0. Suddenly we're sitting pretty. We're feeling good.
Yeah.
Until the ball goes down the other end. And Dan Ballard, who is their centre back, somehow finds himself battling with Bob and with the ball just outside the area on the byline of all places.
Mm.
Cess, for me, has just got to stand goal side there and just block his run. He just goes inside and allows Ballard to come into the box and then puts his hands all over him. And again, goes back to the same thing I just said. So I am consistent, Sunderland fans that are listening and going, well, you said.
Yeah.
But you've got all these different cameras. You decide to hold him and then, for too long. And then he goes down. And yeah, you're just never going to get away with that.
No,
penalty.
that was ridiculous.
No complaints.
No, I got absolutely no complaints with that. Literally, I remember when it happened. In my brain, I was like, I thought we were above this. Like literally, I was just like, I was like,
see what happened.
Yeah, and I know. I'm not going to throw shade. I'm not going to throw shade. Bob was there, and I do think that like Bob is probably a little bit more used to being in that situation in a Premier League treble winning team as opposed to being in that position in Fulham mid-table team. And it's like there's different rules here, bro. Like you're not like that privilege that you have that is gone, right? Like
Ruben Diaz isn't coming to save the day here, man.
Yeah. Like you ain't getting the luck of the draw anymore. And but he will learn. And I hope he does. I hope he does soon. But yeah, that's a pretty clean and obvious penalty for me. I actually have no arguments with that at all. And also as well, he twatted that ball. He wrecked that ball. That I remember watching that and just being like, oh, like that gave me a bit of a stank face. That was a hard trap drop.
Well, annoyingly, when he was at Roma, we were looking at, I think it was just a piece that we were doing, which was TC hadn't signed a new deal as of this point last year, who would come in to replace TC. And I earmarked Enzo Lefebvre. I thought he had the stats, he has the feet, he just has the midfield tenacity that we were talking about earlier that I think Iwobi needs to grasp. And he was one of their better players, and I thought he is a quality player in that central midfield. And yeah, he gets hold of that ball. Absolutely well taken penalty. Leno, no chance. Fair play, 2-1. And then I think at that point, I'm a little bit concerned, but at the same time, I just didn't feel that Sunderland really had a grasp on the game. I thought we still kind of held our own. They were throwing balls into the box, and that's when our third comes from, because I think it's the ball comes in from the left-hand side, headed away by Sander Berger. I think it's the first header I've seen him win in a few games at 6'5".
I know, ridiculous.
He nods it down to Harry Wilson, and Harry just kind of looks around and goes, "Oh, look at all this green space," and he's off. And I think it's just a fantastic run from Harry, and I think that's something which comes from confidence.
Yeah.
When you're 2-1 up, and if you're low on confidence, Harry's probably taking that either to the corner or drawing the defender and turning around and looking for a fullback to play it back to. But the fact that he's like, you know what, I've scored a boatload of goals this season. I've been playing very well. Therefore, you know what, I'm going to run at him. And he just took the game to that defender. And suddenly, out of nowhere, because of his run, we get I think it's a 3-on-2 situation. Iwobi and
Is it Smith Rowe?
I think it's
No.
Oscar Bobb's up there.
I think it might be Oscar, or like may have been
it's
Berg
Oscar Bobb.
Is it Bob?
So Oscar Bobb was up there with Iwobi, and that's the thing. I know it's late in the game, but that Iwobi position, that should be Smith Rowe.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, we haven't really talked about Smith Rowe, have we? Well, we can do it.
For reason. I mean, he's right. I won't shit on him too much, but he's been okay. But I think he just needs to. I just need a bit more from him a little bit to make things happen. But yeah, Iwobi bust a gut. What was it? 85th minute of the game, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
And
I will say. Yeah. No, you go.
No, I was going to say just 85th minute of the game from your central midfielder to who's been running all game to bust a gut, get down there, and then finish that in the way that he did, which is sublime, perfect from Iwobi. Great goal. Sorry, you go.
No, I got no notes. I mean, like, just beautiful, just clean, just really, really like make it look easy stuff. Really, really overwhelmed them really, really nicely. We should touch on Smith Rowe, but I did just want to quickly like shout out like Harry Wilson. I just feel so safe with him at the moment. And you know it. And maybe this is a bit of a nihilism on me. I'm not sure if it's gonna last forever. I mean, he is getting a little bit older. He's getting a bit more refined. I mean, I think he's 30 now, right? Or he's definitely kind of like pushing that way.
Harry Wilson, I think he's 29.
Yeah, you got to be at least 28. Got to be at minimum 28, probably more.
So he turns 29 at the end of March.
I mean, which is like a month away. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to be like the Twilight kind of like it's all downhill from here. But I'm just really, really enjoying the kind of like the full arc of his story, because I think it's actually been just such like I think he's had such a wonderful Fulham career, and I think he's really on like a really lovely victory lap at the moment, and I'm really, really enjoying it for him. And yeah, he's because I wrote him off. I really, really, really wrote him off.
I think we all did.
And he's just completely proved all of us wrong. And I don't think this is gonna last forever. I think it's probably more. We might only get like one more year of like him being who he is right now. Maybe that's mean. That's
exactly why I have my reservations over the new contract.
Yeah.
He wants to be the highest paid at the club, but we've seen the best of Harry, but we've also seen the worst of Harry. So it's not ideal.
Look, I understand why he's pushing for it. I mean, fair enough.
We all do it, right? In all of our jobs, we're like, well, I'm one of the top performers. I deserve to be the best paid. And fair play, the stats back it up. But at the same time, do you invest in two players that would take his one salary of 130 or whatever grand a week or what he wanted? So, or do you split that to 65 grand contracts and get some two decent players, younger players? I'm in two minds about it, but time will tell. But
that is a hard one. I don't have an answer for you. Like just yet on that one. Give me more time to think of that. When I haven't been up for
the next episode. We'll touch upon it. But but no, 3-1 winners. And I mean takes us back to the top half of the table, which is good.
Yeah.
And and I said, and I don't want to oversell it, but I don't think it should be ignored either. Sunderland had lost one game at home until placing us. We're the first team, I believe, to do the double over them this season as well.
Yeah.
I mean, given it's still juvenile to say that, but given that they've only lost one game before this at home, then that suggests that there's only one other team who I don't know could do the double over them. So fantastic result.
This is a real win for me.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah, I was not anticipating it to be as convincing as it was, and I think that we actually really needed this. So I was very, very happy with the end result, and as well, like we really just needed a win. Like the past 3 weeks have not been fun, and I think we needed to like kind of like remind us. Oh, didn't touch on Muniz as well. I do want to quickly highlight Muniz. Muniz for me, I love him. I really love him. He's not where I need him to be at the moment, and I need more from him.
Comes back to our other conversation though. Mind over matter. You've just come back from a serious injury, like, and here's one hamstring related as well.
You're a kinder man than I am.
It's going to take time. It's going to take time, unfortunately. Yeah. But no, I just did have a quick look. The only team who beat Sunderland at home was Liverpool, but they drew at Anfield, so they can't do the double over them. So there you go. We got that. But I mean, Muniz, give him time. I think, unfortunately, you know, he's had a serious injury, I would say, with hamstring operation. It's going to take time for him to get back into the swing of things. And also when Raul is in the form that he is in, it's going to be even tougher for him to get minutes. But like you say, I think against Stoke, I don't think we saw enough of him to warrant a start in the Premier League, but we do know what he can offer, and it's going to take some time.
And he's young as well. Like he will bounce back, and I think I don't mean this in the bad way, but he does seem to have like a clear mind. I don't think he's like in danger of kind of like overthinking that much about his position and like what he can do. I think he's very, very set in the mind of like what he can achieve. And as you said, he just needs some time. But for me at the moment, we got some. I reckon by the end of the season he'll be there, but that's like 2 months away. You know.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the interesting thing is when it gets to the end of the season, because we're talking about Harry getting a new contract. I think they're talking about TC signed to the extension and things like that. But you know, and I know that we're really pushing hard for Ricardo Pepi. That's no secret. But is there a case for Raul to get a new contract?
I mean, I'd say so. I think he's playing a completely different style to. Okay, this is a really interesting conversation. I don't know why you've started this so late in the day, but like because if you asked me that 2 years ago, I would say absolutely not, because we would be talking about like a different player. Because I genuinely think he was a very different player 2 years ago. Now with the player that he is right now, I'd give him another year, just because he is kind of like a stoic, highly precise, not messing about anywhere else on the pitch striker. He is such a clear, out-and-out striker. I mean, he's a target man now, and I think he actually plays that really, really well. And because he's not running around a lot, and because he's just getting in the box and he's just getting in key positions, I think that actually has a significantly longer like shelf life than a really, really bustly like Chukwueze kind of like figure. I know they're very, very different positions and players, but you kind of know what I mean. It's like with a player like, so with that kind of like a style, I think he's just doing it really, really well, and I think he can continue to do that for another year, maybe even another 2 years. But to be fair, like then he's like 35, 36, and that's like, no, we're a bit of a different kind of conversation then. But I think he can continue to play the way that he's playing for quite some time, personally.
Yeah, and I think I somewhat agree with you. I think everyone's talking about, you know, Harry Wilson, given how he's been playing and deserves a new contract, and we need
he cannot play it like that. Harry Wilson cannot play like that for the next 2 years, in my opinion.
No, but there's something about the way that Raul has played and got the goals and just how he has been around the team that I thought, you know what, if we do sign Ricardo Pepi, why not have Raul? I mean, it's probably written in the stars that, you know, we're going to call time on Raul, unfortunately, and he's going to go back to Mexico to sort of see out the rest of his career because that's what he wants. But I think if you asked me in December, I would have said absolutely not.
Oh, 100%.
But now we're having this conversation where, you know, he can still clearly do it in the Premier League, which is one of the most physically demanding leagues in the world. I mean, we can just use Vinicius Carlos Vinicius as an example. He struggled at Fulham. He's now gone back to Brazil. He's now got a 20-goal season. So
yeah,
you know, Raul goes back to Mexico. He's probably going to get a 30-goal season, play an absolute blinder, but at the same time, he can still do it in the Premier League. Therefore, maybe he is warranted to a contract, or if not, another Premier League team picking him up and having him try and keep them in the Premier League.
Well, the thing that I really appreciate about Raul as well, which really sells it for me, in the exact same way that like you can never be stagnant and you have to constantly change. And it's not a critique on like your character. It's just in order to kind of like keep the belting on your second and third album, you can't do what you did on your first. And when you get to like your fourth and fifth album, you need to kind of be exploring something else as well, because you're a different person. You have a different set of skills. And the thing that I really, really appreciate about Raul is he's just completely changed the way that he plays. And Wilson has done this as well. And it's actually been for the better of the team and for the better of him as an actual player as well. And I think that's been a very, very conscious decision on his behalf, because he's like, I cannot get injured. Like, I cannot get injured under any circumstances. And maybe Silva has had an impact on that. I do not know. But my flowers to anybody who can kind of like have the grace and humility to go, no, we got to do something different. And actually doing it and executing it well, that has value to me.
No, absolutely. Well, we'll watch this space and we'll see what happens. But
should we close it out?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, so after that win, we now sit 10th on 37 points, 3 points off Brentford, which are sitting in 7th, but 6th, 45 points, looking quite difficult at this point. So potentially Europe is out of our grasp again this season, but we will see. But we will fight for that 7th space. But it's very compact. You know, Brentford sitting in 7th with Bournemouth, Everton, Fulham on 37, and then Newcastle, Sunderland both on 36. It's going to be a very, very tight scramble for that 7th position. But you know what? For me, I think I'm content. Another year of Premier League football is almost guaranteed. And, you know, and we've started to see our transfers change in terms of strategy. So it'd be interesting to see what comes in the summer. But hey ho, we'll see. But you know, we got Tottenham coming up on Sunday. We will be doing a preview of that later on this week. So please look out for that. But yeah, first and foremost, Sam, thank you very much for joining me today, and thank you for your inputs.
Oh, thank you so much. I love being here. I'm sorry it's been a while. And when you will decide to be content, I'll decide to believe. I'll decide to believe in where we can go, because as much as our friendship has no bounds, neither does Fulham at this stage. And there's a lot more of this season to go. And we've gone through some of the stickiest parts. Tottenham's looking pretty tasty for the taking.
Absolutely.
There is a lot more to be said about this season, and I look forward to the journey with you and all of our friends.
And all of our friends indeed. But yeah, we will be back with that preview show later on this week, as I mentioned, so look out for that. But yeah, I mean, nothing else to say except Sam, will you do the honors?
Come on, you whites.